What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And of course, to my right, my faithful co-host, Matt McGinty. You can find him on Twitter as well at Matt_McGinty as we stream to you live through DSM Media on our Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube account. If you're new to the channel, head on over to at DSM_Media on Twitter. Linktree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform that we are available on. Gin, how was your weekend, my man?
It's good, man. Nova made it out of the first weekend of the tournament, which is always a blessing because before the title runs, that was always a scare. But the Sixers had a dud last night, which ended in one of the worst calls I've seen in basketball itself.
Yeah, it's
but
always good.
overall, the first weekend of the tournament was awesome. It's always an awesome weekend, obviously mixed with St. Patty's Day. So it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it's a good weekend. Sorry, my voice sounds all sorts of fucked up over here. A lot of yelling at the television through the Sixers and gambling on sports and being heavily intoxicated for 90% over the last 5 days. But yeah, good weekend. But we got a lot to talk about, man, because like you said, Nova, we'll get into that. Abe, what's going on, my guy? Nova advances to the Sweet 16, which you're right. Before that 2016 title run, that was a knock on Jay Wright, was getting out of the first weekend. And obviously since then, what's this, the third consecutive Sweet 16 appearance or Third, yeah. Third consecutive Sweet 16 appearance. Sixers, as you mentioned, go 1-1, have a great win at home against the Mavs on Friday night, double-digit win. And then they come back home and just lay an absolute egg against a unhealthy and undermanned Toronto Raptors team without Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby. Inexcusable loss, which we'll break down. And, of course, they're back at it tonight with no James Harden and no Joel Embiid, which obviously is the right thing to do. But why in the hell would you not do that last night instead of tonight? But hey, we can break all that down. And I want to get your guys' opinions. And again, I want to get your opinion on what is the main problem with them as of right now? What is a point of skepticism you have with this team? We'll get into that later, but we got to start with more breaking news that came out late on Saturday night or Friday night, excuse me. Nick Castellanos signs 5 years, $100 million with the Philadelphia Phillies to put them over the luxury tax for the first time in franchise history. John Middleton opens up his wallet, goes over that tax threshold, and now you have a lineup that features the reigning MVP of the league in Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos and company. Again, how the hell did we get here?
I don't know. It still feels a little weird to me, just hearing the way it all kind of went down after the Schwarber news. Everyone was like, oh, I wanted Chris Bryant. Oh, I wanted Chris Bryant. And they get Nick Castellanos, and they get both for less than what Chris Bryant went to Colorado for. So it's an absolute win, obviously. And you called me on Friday night, very happy to say the least. And I was like, that's got to be every single Phillies fan. I can't see anyone that can find a pessimist. Oh my God. Anyone that can find a pessimistic bone in their body for this one. I'm sure there's still trolls out there, but
I'm sure
this one's an A+ for the Phillies community, obviously, or the Phillies fan base and community.
I mean, there's people out there that are going, oh, the defense. They were the worst last year. Who cares when you have this lineup, man? Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Mason, thanks for tuning in, buddy. But, meh. Very, very meh.
If it's not Jalen Reagor, I'm okay.
Right. I mean, it's fine. I like it, but it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't move the needle as far as the Eagles being better overall as a team. So yeah, like an hour ago, the Eagles brought in former Colt Zach Pascal to reunite with Nick Sirianni. But back to the Phillies. One thing that's amazing to me as well, again, is something, in recent memory with players coming here and, whether getting traded. Obviously, the Jimmy Butler thing happened. Obviously, James Harden comes here, and the hope is that he's signing an extension and signing on long-term here, but that's not sealed and delivered yet. These two are here for 4 and 5 years. This isn't Nick Castellanos on a 1-year deal, and let's see what they can do. 5 years, and as you mentioned, $20 million a year. Schwarber, under $20 million a year. Chris Bryant got what, 27 point whatever AAV? That's ridiculous. I don't know how Dombrowski did it. Obviously, also shout out to Nick Castellanos for leaking, I guess, his
Yeah, that
Instagram
was sick.
pictures. That was goated.
That was so dope, that picture. I was like, "Oh my god." That's like how you drop an album.
Yeah, that was good. And I think so. Let's get into what these two bring to the team now, because obviously they are the the star powered names out there, right? There were three guys that the Phillies were targeting this offseason, and they landed two of them somehow. Now, what does it mean? Before I get into what they bring to the plate, where they should play in the field, how the lineup should look, their ceiling, etc. Both of these dudes bring an attitude. They just their off the field presence, their winning culture. Obviously, Castellanos hasn't been around a lot of winning in his career, but he wants to win. Like he's got edge to him that I think Philly fans are going to love. And Schwarber, as he mentioned in his press conference this morning, and as has been already stated, he's done nothing but been on winning teams. He has over 125 plate appearances in the postseason. Right? He's all he's done has been around winning. They both have edge to him. They both just have, character that Philly fans are going to love. That's going to mesh with Bryce Harper. So that's the first thing that sticks out to me is that these two can deliver off the field as well as on it.
Yeah. Saw Schwarber's quote today and said that being in the postseason is an addicting feeling.
Yeah.
And that's something the Phillies need, obviously, considering it's been a decade since we've seen playoff baseball. So I think Kyle Schwarber's attitude will be just as much as the bat will be, considering now you have four guys that can put up almost 40 bombs.
Yeah.
The offense won't struggle, to say the least, huh?
Yeah. So, well, here's another thing. What does this tell you about how players are viewing this Phillies team right now, right? Because there are the naysayers and the doubters, and that's fine. I mean, they haven't made the postseason in over a decade. So I get your skepticism. I am too. But if Kyle Schwarber comes out and makes a statement saying winning is making the postseason is an addicting feeling, and all he's done is make the postseason his entire career, damn near. You think he would look at this Phillies team if he didn't view them as close to a contender and sign on for 4 years if he didn't think he could help them make that push? Do you think Nick Castellanos, now I don't know what happened to his market. I don't know what his agent, what he was trying to get, right? Obviously, what you go and see what Chris Bryant got. You think Nick Castellanos couldn't have signed somewhere for more than $20 million a year? If Chris Bryant got 27, you think Nick Castellanos couldn't have got 22, 24, 25, whatever it is? He was in the MVP conversation last year.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's the beauty of it. Like you mentioned, the team that hasn't been in the playoffs in a decade, you get two big names, and maybe the floodgates start to open. Maybe you see even bigger names. Not saying this year, obviously. In the future, trade deadline, those type of talks where maybe we can start to shore up the back end of this rotation. Maybe it's a bullpen piece, but something else. Because I know we're going to jump into the lineup. The lineup won't be the problem. It's going to be those other things I mentioned. And like you said a little bit earlier, the defense. So we'll see.
Dude, listen, it's going to be bad. Like it's going to be bad. There's going to be moments where even you and I, who are, the conductors of this Phillies train right now, are going to be ripping our hairs out. Like how? Like Reese Hoskins dropped a pop fly in foul territory earlier today in spring training. Like
we'll get into it, but I presume. Oh no, I guess Schwarber would probably be the DH, right?
Oh no, when they signed Nick Castellanos, that was what some people were thinking. You look at the numbers, Castellanos is worse in the field than Kyle Schwarber. Castellanos is also a right fielder, and he's only played 74 games in left field. So it's going to be incredibly interesting to see what Joe Girardi does fielding-wise. What do you do?
Speaking of Joe Girardi, you saw the article, right?
The Yankees thing?
Yeah.
Obviously, I only read the headline, and it was that they approved opening unsealing something to look into the Yankees. Well, I mean, listen, if that climbs the ladder, Joe Girardi might be looking at a little time off.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll cross that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I will say, if it's Joe Girardi, it's okay. Thank God it had nothing. Bryce Harper wasn't on that team. Castellanos wasn't on that team. Joe, was Didi on that team? Because maybe Didi's on his way out too.
They can only be doing us favors at that point.
Yeah, maybe that's a plus for that. But yeah, that was interesting. So definitely something to keep an eye on as well. I'm slightly kidding because I don't hate Joe Girardi as some people do, but I'm also not his biggest fan. But yeah, speaking of the field and what he's going to do, the one thing that I do really like about the universal DH being in the NL now, and for this Phillies lineup in particular, yes, you have fielding issues, but you have a lot of guys that can platoon that DH. And when they needed it, so literally you have Castellanos, Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, if he needs a day off, just a DH. Real Muto, you can move guys all over. Real Muto can play first. Schwarber can play first if Reese needs a day off or if JT needs a day off. Whatever it is, you can move this lineup around a ton, dude. So that's going to be very intriguing to see how he plays that out. But let's get to the bats because that's where the eyeballs are going right now. What would you do? Like, what's your ideal line, top of the order here?
So I think Schwarber is going to be in the leadoff spot.
I would hope so, but then apparently, whether it was Dombrowski or Girardi earlier today saying, in the middle of the order. Let's presume he's the leadoff guy.
What I will do is I'd bat Schwarber 1. I'd have Gene hit 2. I'd have Harper hit 3. I'd probably go JT 4, Castellanos 5th, Hoskins 6th, Gregorius, Bohm, Herrera, with obviously Odubel playing in center at that point, and Schwarber being your DH.
I'd flip 4-5. So
you have Castellanos hit 5th and Real Muto hit.
No, I'd have Castellanos 4.
Yeah.
Real Muto 5.
Yeah.
And then where'd you go after that? Hoskins 6.
Hoskins, Didi, Bohm, Odubel.
Yeah. And then obviously you can figure out if you'd go Bohm, Didi, 7-8. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think the Odubel move was made without the sight of getting Castellanos?
Probably.
Because I think they probably would have just went with Matty V in center.
Yeah.
But now they have Odubel, and I know Odubel's becoming like, I don't even J-Jaw. But not to the degree of J-Jaw because he's not the total net negative that J-Jaw is, but he just seems to be sticking around, if that makes sense. So,
like Furcon?
Exactly. That's like a really good analogy. Actually.
Except for the fact that Odubel just seems to not be a great human being from prior
Furcon's
appearances. Furcon, didn't do that. But as in terms of just sticking around the organization, yeah.
What will be really interesting is can they find a set lineup early into the year that basically is like your backbone lineup?
Yeah, well, that was
all this shuffling around and stuff like you had just mentioned. Like, eventually, you need to say, okay, this is my everyday starters in these positions, and not, we'll try him at the DH. We'll put Bohm at first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I think lineup wise, though, regardless of what you do in the field, I think lineup you can always be consistent, and that's one thing that Girardi's kind of struggled with in the 2 years that he's been here. He has shuffled this lineup around. Dude, Rhys Hoskins has batted cleanup, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th since he's been here. He's put him all over the place. Gene Segura has hit leadoff, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th. You Bryce Harper. He had Bryce leading off for a while when they didn't have a pure leadoff hitter last year, right? You have to with this staple of guys figure out, like you said, what your everyday lineup is. Do you think the Dodgers are over here shuffling around their lineup, trying to figure out where guys fit and when? No, like you said, if you want to tweak, like if you're Joe, if you put Reese in the 2 because he can get on base for Harper better than Gene can, and Gene's your 6-hole hitter, maybe I'm okay with it. I need Reese hitting dingers. Okay, like I need that Rhys Hoskins back, and I think in the 2-hole he gets too conservative. I don't know what the hell his walk numbers are per year. I don't need the 50 walks. I don't need however many walks he has in a regular season. I don't need it, right? They're nice. I need Rhys Hoskins hitting for pop in the middle of this order, not worrying about, oh shit, Bryce is behind me. Let me try to get on base, because you'll have that in Gene. Gene's a walk-in spray chart. He's going to hit for close to 300. You'll have that. You'll have Schwarber at the top. And then dude, it's so beautiful. Think, like, with injuries and everything that occurred last year, you could pitch around Bryce. What the F are you doing now? Where are you going, bro? Oh, no, Bryce. Come on, Nick. Oh, no, Nick. Come on, JT. Where are you going? There's
Yeah,
nowhere. There's no
you have
escape
5
hole.
guys that can combine for what? We'll say 180 home runs.
125. Oh, five. Yeah, probably for 150, 160.
Yeah. You think Harper, Castellanos, Schwarber,
And
and
Reese.
Reese, if
You
they're
have to
all healthy,
it's
can
around
get
that
close to
30 number,
40.
right?
Yeah, can get to mid-30s. And JT will give you, what, 20, 25 homers?
Yeah.
That puts you at 160?
Don't know what that math is, but maybe.
I don't even know what I just did in my head either, to be honest with you.
35, 70,
35
140.
times 4 plus 20.
Yeah, so we're floating around that number. Either way, those are great numbers.
Yeah,
And
100%.
that's just between those dudes.
Yeah, there's still, obviously, like you mentioned, professional hitter Gene Segura. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What's a key piece to you, dude? Like outside of those guys, the others, like we like to say with the Sixers.
it has to be Alec Boehm.
Yeah.
I think this guy's got it. And I felt, we talked about this a little bit last year. I felt so bad when that video surfaced of him just duffing 3 ground balls in a row. I was talking about this with Cole on Friday. I jumped on Cole's podcast, and I was just like, man, I really hope this kid can figure it out, because I don't think there's anyone in the fan base that hates on Alec Boehm, that wants to hate on Alec Boehm, but he's got to figure it out. It's 10 years since the playoffs. It's time to make the playoffs, and Alec Boehm can be a huge piece to make the playoffs.
Dude, we look around the city at athletes that have kind of, I don't want to use the word collapse, but maybe folded or just gotten in their own heads mentally and have just completely fallen off. I don't want to see that with him. And the worst part about the collapse of him last season was it was never at the plate. I'll repeat this 100 times until I'm blue in the face. It was never at the plate. It started in the field. And then once those murmurs started, he was hearing everybody talk, and he was getting frustrated. His issues in the field translated to the mental issues in the box, and then his whole game just went to, dude, you could trust that kid at the plate, runner on second, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. That kid was putting the ball in play and giving you a chance. He was clutch. He can hit it all over the field. I didn't trust him in the second half of last season. And if he somehow gets that back, that's incredibly important, because you're talking about a kid last year, let's say in this lineup, was probably the 3rd or 4th most important piece on opening day. If you get him back to being close to what he was in the batter's box, forget the fielding, because the entire team's going to suck in the field. If you get him back to that, think about that's your 7-hole hitter or 8-hole hitter. That's Alec Boehm.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's beyond important. It really is. So,
and I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen spring training. First of all, it's hardly ever on TV so far. Yeah. But Abe said, "Do you guys think the Phillies make any more sexy free agent moves? Is there anyone out there that you guys like that makes sense for the Phillies to sign?" It's interesting. There's someone had tweeted, Dombrowski said they're going to make one more move, one more announcement or whatever.
I doubt it'd be the term sexy you'd use.
Right. The rumor is, or that announcement is just signing Castellanos officially, right? Which they need to do, because for my own sanity, I just need to see it from the Phillies account that they have announced they have signed Nick Castellanos.
Well, they announced Schwarber today, right?
What?
They announced Schwarber today or yesterday?
Well, he had his press conference today, but the tweet from the team came out yesterday or Saturday.
Okay.
So Castellanos should be like soon, considering that was Friday night.
I mean, dude, he was in the city too. Like, I feel like it would be even a quicker process. Also, shout out to his mom, probably giving it away even earlier with all.
Great lady.
Likes on Twitter. She'll be a fan favorite.
I did some deep diving, bro, that night. I was sending it to you guys. I saw one tweet, and it was a screenshot of Castellanos' mom liking Phillies related tweets. So I'm like, get her at, search her, go to her likes, and I'm just 7, 8, 9 straight tweets of Phillies related tweets to Castellanos, and I'm just like, screenshot. Like, come on, bro, Mama Bear, get it done. And literally the next morning, here comes the report, and that's what Dombrowski, I'm telling you, it was a joke before. The man works in silence, bro. You don't hear an inkling of what he's doing behind closed doors until that day. Schwarber, 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, report comes out that they're progressing in talks out of the blue. An hour later, bang, he's a Philly. Castellanos, you think they're done? Morning of Friday, report comes out, they're progressing Castellanos. Friday night, he's a Philly. Like, that man works in freaking silence. And that's why to Abe's question, I don't know because maybe he is like the A's are having a fire sale. Like they're selling. They have two guys that I would love to snag from them, whether that be what are their two starters again? Frankie Montes or Sean or Manaea, I believe, is still there with Oakland. If they could grab one of those, I'd love that. There's the rumor of them trading for Austin Meadows, which, my God, if they go out and get Austin Meadows, forget it. Like, so to sexy, I don't know. Like, would you consider an Austin Meadows trade sexy? Probably not, but it's a great trade.
I agree. I don't know what it will be, if it will be much. Yeah, so Cole pretty much agrees with what we said.
He's got JT at 6. I don't mind that either.
Yeah, he has Reese up a slot, Castellanos up a slot, and Reese or JT at 6.
And again, it'll be interesting to see if Didi can struggle. Don't get me wrong, I hate on Didi. Like, if I have to watch Didi hit 208 again with 9 home runs, I'm gonna lose my mind. But here comes the fan in me. If he can somehow find some pop back from the left side of the plate, that's your 8-hole hitter.
Yeah, that number is just hilarious. 208 with 9 home runs.
Dude, so that's what he basically did last year.
It's so good.
It was horrible. Like, literally, it was like 214, 2-0. Like, oh my God, I couldn't believe. And then, like, he's like, oh, well, I remember Joe was making comments about how they need him in the lineup, because he was an explosive bat. Explosive bat. He had 8 home runs over halfway through the season. What do you mean explosive? Like, we're just throwing that word around for anybody now, huh, Joe? Like, that doesn't involve Didi. So, but my point to Cole's comment is Bryson Stott's climbing, bro. And if they even think he's ready to play, now I know he's not playing day one. But like I said, if Didi struggles, you have to get Joe Girardi and Didi's relationship, friendship from the New York days, whatever you want to call it, out of here. And Bryson Stott needs to be starting at shortstop.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have time for Didi's games.
No. And then he's got Herrera 9, Herrera, Vierling, whatever you want to do. I don't care. How about this? I'll move Bryce back to center. I'll throw Castellanos in right with Schwarber in left. And we'll just go all out.
But then what would that do? Who would hit DH then?
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Well, you need a third baseman because then I assume Reese would be the DH. Bo would have to play first.
I overplayed my hand here. Yeah, hold on. Go trade for Austin Meadows and we'll have some fun. Austin Meadows can play in the field and Schwarber or Castellanos can DH. That's how we'll do that. That's solved. All right. Before we move on, where I'm being serious when I ask this question, because this isn't just, the fan in me. This lineup's ridiculous. Like, I want every Phillies fan to realize that. Don't sit back and be like, oh, well, they have a hole here. Like, what are they going to do in center field? Bullshit. Who cares if 1 out of 9 in their starting lineup is Because even if it is Odubel Herrera or Matt Vierling, I know they're not the sexy piece, as Abe was saying. They're still going to hit for 250, 260, right? I mean, they're not horrible in the batter's box. So if they're your 9-hole hitter, who cares? Gint, where would you rank this lineup? I know we don't have just a list of lineups out there, but for my money, obviously the Dodgers, okay? Ridiculous. Don't even know what to say about it. Number 1. Find me another lineup.
Like, on paper as a lineup, I don't think you could really throw anything much more, to be honest with you.
You're goddamn right you can't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you could throw ball clubs over them, but not a lineup after that.
That's all. We're scoring runs, bro. Try to score more runs than me. You can't. And you know what's more runs do, Gint? Win games. Okay? So you guys can bitch and moan about the 5th starter. I'm going to go score 11 runs a night, all right? I'm exaggerating, but
Dude,
I mean, goddamn.
you're feeling this team, huh?
Dude, are you joking? They have Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber.
Dude, you called me, and I said, yeah, they just signed him for 5 years, $100 million. I was like, yo, he batted like 308 last year. You said, Gint, did you really just say this dude batted 308 last year? I was like, yeah, is that wrong? And you were like, he was second in the MVP race. I was crying, bro.
I couldn't tell you. I fell down the stairs shortly after this. Couldn't tell you how that conversation went. I talked to George Ryder on the phone that night. Cole and Kata were on FaceTime with me. I don't even know what we FaceTimed on. I don't think it was like actual. I couldn't tell you. That was first of all, why would they sign him at 11 o'clock on a Friday night?
I don't know. Well, he was in the city. He was doing something. Could you imagine? You're just pondering the city. You just finished up dinner. Nick Castellanos is just sitting on the steps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Not going to lie to you.
There.
Probably wouldn't recognize Nick Castellanos.
I don't think I would either. Especially at the time of night he posted that picture. Like, you can't really see anyone.
No, especially if you're as bombed as, like, Dylan Davis was that night. I mean, forget
no one would have noticed. Imagine, like, you see
that. Now, hold on. Now, let's story time. If Dylan Davis was that bombed and did recognize Nick Castellanos, I would have got punched in the face because I wouldn't have left. I would have been so annoying. I would have been in his grill talking to him.
Imagine if you see that picture like 10 minutes after, and you're like, dude,
I was just there.
We just missed him. You brought him back. He's not there no more.
Shit. Send him a DM. Yo, where are you? I'm at the Rocky statue. But yeah, so I agree, dude. It's I get it. I might be a little too excited because I'm not gonna lie, there are still some question marks in terms of this rotation, right? On opening day, I don't know what it's going to be because in reality, okay, your rotation's what? It's Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Zach Eflin, and Kyle Gibson, right? However you want to form that. But opening day, Zach Eflin's still banged up. Zach Wheeler's coming off an illness and whatever other injury. Ranger Suarez was late with visa issues. Okay, well, and Aaron Nola apparently still can't get guys out with an 0-2 count and a 1-2 count because he gave up 3 home runs the other day with 2 strikes on a batter. So apparently losing the hair didn't help Aaron. So I don't know what Aaron Nola we're going to get this year. The bullpen.
Is Aaron Nola on Didi Gregorius terms of it needs to be figured out?
Like, what do you mean? Like in terms of he needs to figure it out, or
it needs to be figured out.
Or he needs to be figured out and get better.
No. If he doesn't figure it out, like, we'll be seeing Aaron.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, how many more years do you want to give the dude?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
He was a Cy Young run. He was 3rd in the Cy Young voting in 2017. I just graduated high school.
Yeah,
I'm 2 years removed from graduating college.
Yeah, we're half a decade from that, man.
Yeah, like you only get like such a time. Doug Peterson was fired in a shorter term after winning a Super Bowl than Aaron Nola was from his Cy Young campaign. So, like, you know what I mean? Oh, like a Cy Young, you have this one. No, it's not a 1-2 punch anymore. Aaron Nola needs to. I don't even need him to get back to that, bro. Aaron Nola was so bad last year. He reached like 4th in a rotation, in my opinion. Like that's how he would be he would be a good 4th in your starting 5, right? I need him to be a good 3.
Yeah.
A good Ranger Suarez. Am I expecting a 1-5 from Ranger Suarez again? No. But I mean, if I can get, a little bit of what I got out of Ranger last year, Kyle Gibson, I don't hate either. Zach Eflin's Mr. Inconsistent. Zach Wheeler is not going to be in the Cy Young race again, I would imagine. So don't get me wrong. It's scary. But Dombrowski and Middleton said, okay, I see my issues. I can't fix my issues because maybe there's not a guy on the market in terms of starting pitching. There's no one available for trade that I can go move. But you know what I can do?
Score a lot of runs.
I can outscore just about anybody in the entire MLB. Like that's what the signing did for me, right? The Schwarber signing was nice. I loved it. I was excited. It moved the needle for me. This one, and not just because if it was just Castellanos, I'd be excited. It moved the needle, but we'll see. You added both, and now you're not going to be able to shut me up. And I'm assuming that means the Phillies are getting swept on opening weekend at home by the A's, but you won't be able to shut me up. I think this team is going to be really, really good. And I'm not afraid. Like, I'm not afraid of anybody. Like, the Dodgers are a better ball club. Don't get me wrong. But, like, why do we act like the Dodgers win the World Series every year?
They don't.
You're goddamn right they don't. They don't even make the World Series every year. They won it in a bubble year. Okay? Just like the Lakers, hand that one back over, bud.
Yeah.
Frauds, okay? Joking, because they're scary, but I'm not scared of them anymore. Like before, if it was just like Harper, Schwarber, and JT, okay, I'm David versus Goliath here. Why should I be scared of the Dodgers lineup with this Phillies lineup? You shouldn't be scared. Are they better? No, but you shouldn't be scared anymore. And that was something that lineup did.
I co-sign everything.
Moving on. We'll touch on no overtime. All right, Gant. Fees up, brother. Talk to me. What'd you see this weekend that you liked out of them? Obviously, they coasted Delaware on Friday afternoon. Come on. Ohio State, obviously, Ohio State pushed back. EJ to Liddell kind of almost brought them back in the second half. But Nova kind of cruised Ohio State too, dude.
Yeah. It's honestly the same thing you've seen all year. When they struggle to make shots for a quick period of time, bigger teams can go on a run because Villanova is not the biggest team in the country. A lot of them play bigger to their size. Caleb Daniels, Brandon Slater, Jermaine Samuels, they all play bigger to their size. But Villanova
so did the guards, dude. Both guards in the low post are ridiculous.
Villanova just like wears you down. And you saw it when Eric Dixon hit the three. Like they were so done.
Which I did not know he had in his arsenal, to be honest.
So I played against him in high school. Side note for you. He was a freshman and he scored 34 points on us. And he hit like 8 threes. And from that day on, I was like, okay, he doesn't miss. But no, when he squares up his shoulders and he gets a good look at it, he can knock him down. And they were so good. Even though Colin struggled in the second half, they weren't going to let Colin be the single reason they beat him, even though he had a huge helping hand in it. But he squared up a huge shot up 5, put it to 8, and they didn't really look back from then on. But it's kind of the same thing you saw at Villanova all year in terms of bigger teams like to play very physical against them. Zed Key from Ohio State was just throwing his body around the pin, running people over, and they were just allowing it. So that was tough to watch sometimes. But Michigan will be an interesting test, in my opinion. But overall, those 2 games, they kind of went to how I thought they would. I thought when we talked to Mark, I asked him if he thought Ohio State could give him a little bit of a dogfight because I thought they could, and they did. They played tough. That's how they played all year. So they're moving on. They get Michigan, and I'll probably talk about that as it gets closer.
We will, but real quick, do you prefer Michigan to what the alternative would have been in Tennessee?
I wanted them to play. I talked to way too many people I thought they could beat. That Tennessee was going to smoke them. So, I mean, that's the only reason I'd rather play either one. You play what's in front of you. Michigan was super inconsistent all year. Yeah. Eli Brooks is very, very tough. So
he has no neck, by the way. No neck.
So, I don't want to say I prefer because I think that's bad juju.
Fair.
But it's an 11 seed. They were a fringe tournament team. They are very inconsistent. They have Hunter Dickinson, who is humongous. So it'll be interesting.
I think that's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, 100%. But then on the other end, how it's been since I can remember since Nova's winning these championships is these bigger guys that are going to punish them on the inside have to guard Villanova on the perimeter.
Right.
And they don't do it well. They've never done it well. And you could date it back to Azubuike from Kansas, Perry Ellis from Kansas. Like, they just struggle because Villanova plays a fast pace. They all play on the perimeter. And big guys just don't really have the fatigue sometimes to keep up with them. So it'll be a tough test. Michigan's playing good ball right now, which is a scary sight because coming into the year, they were supposed to be a very good team. So we'll see.
So Caleb Daniels was involved a lot in the offense yesterday, it seemed like. Is that normally the case?
He's a very spot-up, streaky jump shooter, but Ohio State was playing almost like full denial on Colin and Justin Moore, trying to make other guys make plays. And the other guys can make plays. Caleb Daniels does do a lot of catch and shoot, but he has a vertical like no other. In terms of playmaking, he can jump off 2 feet and dunk the ball. It's impressive. I don't think he'll be as much of a playmaker this next round as they were. Jamari Wheeler, who's on Ohio State, he played at Penn State prior. He led the Big Ten in steals. So I knew he'd be in college shorts all night. But Colin lit him up to start the game. He had like 10 quick
Oh
points.
yeah,
I'm pretty
Colin over
sure.
14 and a half, cashed quick, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he only finished with like 18, I think. But
18 or 20. I forget if he
it
hit
could be.
late free
It was
throws.
definitely something around there. He had a couple
He
late
didn't
jumpers.
shoot. He didn't shoot well.
No, it was like 5 of 14. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
But he went on that streak, and that's kind of really what opened up the game in the first half against Ohio State. Was I forget what we were up by. It was very early. It was only like the 14 or 13-minute mark, and Colin went on a 8 or 10-0 run by himself, and just opened it up. And like I said, they closed the half with a nice lead, and for the most part, at the beginning of the second half, they maintained that lead. Ohio State pushed back. I think they cut it to 3 or 2 or whatever. And then Nova, like you said, opened it back up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be that way, and it'll probably be the same way with Michigan. They always start out
Michigan
well.
struggles to score. It's the one thing I've seen through the 2 games.
Yeah, 100%.
I think if Nova doesn't go through a cold stretch,
Yeah, as long as they can
them,
withstand the run Michigan will put together. Every team puts a run together in
right?
basketball. It's a game of runs. It's just when it seems like when Nova misses shots, other teams' big men always just throw their body into them repeatedly, and the refs never call a charge on it. It's incredible. So we'll see. I'm super excited to get into it when obviously we'll talk again later this week about it. So it'll be
Yeah.
exciting.
As far as the rest of the tournament, goes, what were your thoughts on that? Obviously, St. Peter's is coming to Philly this weekend. Obviously, that's the Cinderella of this tourney. You got Iowa State versus Miami in the Sweet 16. So what's that? 10-11? Yeah.
11-10 matchup. 2 Philadelphia kids in it. Isaiah Brockington goes to Iowa State, and Isaiah Wong goes to Miami. It'll be a good game. I really like how Miami looks. I know Mark Henry, our guy, is on huge Miami.
They blew the doors off of Auburn last
night.
Yeah,
they looked really convincingly good yesterday.
Yeah, dude, they beat them by 17.
And they don't even shoot the ball like that well. And they didn't even shoot well last night. I mean, if they can shoot the ball better from beyond the arc, they're a legitimate Final Four team. So they looked good. Obviously, Drew Timme has looked like the best player in the tournament so far.
Yeah, take over time. I'm an asshole. I was going through some of the odds on Saturday night, and Timme for 20 and 10 was plus 800. And I was going to do it. I was so close to pulling the trigger, and I thought, let me play it a little safer and take Chet's over at 13 and a half, and my guy scored like 5 points.
Yeah.
So, and Timme hit with like 10 minutes left in the game, 20, and he had like 22 and 11 with 10 minutes left. It was ridiculous. UNC takes down number 1 seed Baylor. Number 1 seed Arizona barely survives last night over TCU. It's been wild.
Yeah, UNC played really, really well down the stretch. I talked about this also with Cole because he's obviously a UNC guy. Yeah. They played super well down the stretch. So it wasn't – I don't want to say it wasn't a surprise for them to get there because Baylor's obviously number 1 seed. But it was a convincing win for them as well, even though they kind of almost folded at the end. Again, it's a game of runs. It would have been an utter collapse. But
right, and that ejection was fraudulent. But
yeah. But in terms of the next round matchup-wise, Duke and Texas Tech is one to circle. I think that'll be really good. Duke had to get through, obviously, Michigan State. That was almost a scare last night, but they prevailed. And then, I mean, Purdue has to be slapping their knees, thanking the Lord. They're going to get St. Peter's next round. I don't think St. Peter's has nearly enough for Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey's going to be a lottery pick. I think Purdue is going to coast by them. And then pretty much we've touched on all the other matchups after that.
The only other thing I'm looking at as far as moving ahead, obviously Duke's road is a lot not a lot tougher. I don't want to say that because UNC is going to have to see UCLA and then possibly Purdue to get there.
Yeah.
But when you look at Duke having to go through Texas Tech and then potentially Gonzaga, we're 2 games away from a Duke Carolina Final Four.
Yeah, that would be something super.
That would be
super
insane.
I don't think Duke wins this week.
You don't?
No. I
listen
from the rip.
Again, I know they won by 7. From a man who watched every second of Texas Tech, and I know it's just one game and they could bounce back next game. I had Texas Tech -8. Texas Tech did not look like anything special against Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
No, I'm not saying Texas Tech. I'm saying Gonzaga.
Oh, next round. I got you.
Yeah.
Not this upcoming. Got you. Yeah, I mean, Timmy's on a hell of a run. Duke beat Gonzaga at the beginning of the year, but obviously that's months and months ago. And we
I
just,
just think Duke just had to do that to get through Michigan State. I think Duke is going to have to chomp at the bit to get through Texas Tech. And it's kind of like what Mark alluded to. I think Gonzaga, even though Gonzaga had to play super well last round to win, I think they're going to handle Arkansas.
yeah, so do I. Or I haven't
And
liked Arkansas in it. Either
might
of
not
them
have to
matchups,
put
and they
all the
squeak
eggs in the
by.
basket to get through Arkansas. And it'll be like a little easier road than Duke will have to get through because, again, Texas Tech makes every single game a street fight. So it'll be interesting.
From the fan point of view, it would be the build up for that in Coach K's last season, after obviously losing in Cameron in his last home game to UNC, would be insane. But we'll see. We're two difficult matchups away from the happening, so we don't always get what we want, especially in sports, kids. So I doubt we're going to get to see that. But all right, bro, let's move on and wrap up the show with some Sixers talk, because I don't know how this conversation is going to go, because I don't know where your head's at. I know obviously we're both clear on one thing: the bench stinks. It stinks badly. We both get that. They are 8-3 with James Harden in the lineup. They had a very impressive win at home, like I said at the beginning of the show, versus the Mavericks, double-digit win. Were there any complaints then? No, not a one. They lose. They play horrible. No one shows up last night to an undermanned Toronto team. Horrible loss. Not excusing it, and we're going to break it down as best we can. But now they don't have enough to be a championship team. This bench stinks. Doc, James, yada, yada, yada. They're not going to make a run. They might lose in the second round. I can't do it much longer, dude. I don't know what people want. Like now you needed more. Now James, now with Daryl Morey didn't do enough. Is the bench good enough? No. But what did you want them to do at the deadline in the buyout market? Who was out there on the buyout market that, we were floating around names of potential buyout candidates? Not many of them got bought out. So what did you want them to do?
Yeah, and it's the play that's really eluding this. It's diluting this buyout enormously because teams have false hope to get in because it's up to 10 seeds. You have to win
Right.
2 games if you're a 10 seed to get in. It's not the worst odds. So the buyout is dwindling in front of our eyes with this play-in tournament. But you covered it, dude. The bench isn't good enough. And if you didn't know that, if you thought DeAndre, even though I was a DeAndre Jordan co-signer, I'm not anymore.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's been rough to watch, but like, don't get me wrong, George Niang was a good signing. I'll stand by that.
But he can't be your bench best player.
Yeah, we're forcing George Niang to have play a ton with no rim protector in his
and
second
to do a
year.
ton.
Yeah, and it's not what a team can and should be constructed of right now off the bench. But what I'll say is this. Philadelphia still has 2 of the best 3 players in every series. They have a core 4 guys that can play really well any given night that not a lot of teams will have in a playoff series. And how much do these guys really need to do in the playoffs that are going to hinder you from success is a question. Is it enough to lose a series? And we saw what Greg Monroe and Boban did in Toronto. I don't think there's a bionic guy named Kawhi Leonard like there was that year. But don't get me wrong, it's going to be a tough road no matter what.
No, 100%. And listen, if they get outscored 43-14 in a playoff series off the bench, yeah, then that's enough to lose. But guess what, guys? They'd have to play enough minutes to lose by that amount. That's not going to happen. Now, and what I'll ask you, everyone wants to blame the bench. And I'm not even the biggest proponent of throwing all my eggs at the Doc blame basket, right? But what's more of the issue right now? The bench stinks, right? Now, if I give you the names of, Danny Green, Furkan Korkmaz, George Niang, the backup center, DeAndre Jordan, right? On paper, let's say before the season started or after the trade, we would have been like, oh, that's not terrible. They're all under. Danny Green doesn't look playable. Shake Milton doesn't look like the same guy from last year, right? That's able to get a basket when he's in the game, right? DeAndre Jordan, my God. Now I'm on the Charles Bassey train. Now play Charles Bassey. Give him Give them all the minutes that DeAndre Jordan would get, right? They're all underperforming. So how are you going to blame Daryl Morey for every bench player to be a disappointment at this point right now, right? But what's more the issue? We know that they stink. Doc and his coaching staff knows that they stink. So is it them that's the issue, or is it the fact that Doc is hanging them out high and dry night in and night out with 4 bench dudes and James Harden on the floor together? What's the bigger issue?
For regular season wins, yeah, Doc, if you're going to run out these lineups, it's not going to work.
I'm talking about right now, not postseason, right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think like leaving James Harden on an island, who isn't like this defensive two-sided
who's
guy.
not fully acclimated, by the way.
Yeah, 100% is tough to ask because of how bad these guys are playing. They are underperforming.
Again, you can't that's
Georges
one thing.
Niang. Georges Niang was minus 21 last night.
Yeah, listen, I won't overreact to the overall landscape of things. I still think they're able to contend for a championship this year. I'm not hearing, let's get the offseason and go for next year. They'll have that available to them, but I'm not just throwing in this season because it doesn't look pretty right now. But it's not an overreaction to say how bad this bench is.
Oh, it's brutal. It really is. But how many, this will be the first time I think Doc seriously goes with 8 guys.
He's already leaning that way. He's already doing it.
I think
he hasn't gone back to Furkan. He's taken Isaiah Joe out of it right now.
I think Danny Green will play in the playoffs. He's a pro. He's won multiple championships. Danny Green. He's a pro.
He'll play.
He'll play.
But I'm sorry, his leash has to be short because he's damn near unplayable at the moment. He's a net negative every single time he steps on the floor.
I would go with, obviously, Niang. And DeAndre Jordan's going to play in the backup minutes of Joel Embiid, I think. Now, if it gets really bad, you might see a Paul Millsap stretch 5 lineup. I don't think you're going to see a Bassey or Paul Reed lineup at any point. I think
you're not tonight. You're going to because Joel being out.
Yeah.
My issue is again before the playoffs start. Obviously, you're not going to test something out come playoff time. Right now, with 13 games left, however many they have left, dude. Again, anything you can try. Because here's the thing, they can't be worse. They can be equally as bad, and then you go, okay, I tried it for the game, throw it out. Didn't work, right?
Let me ask you this.
Be worse.
Would you play – all right, let's say Danny Green has a dud, game 1 and 2, and the series is tied 1-1. Who's the next guy that you pull in after that?
Shake is the most important player on this bench to me.
Shake?
Yes, dude, because he's the one that I've seen it from before. And I know he's disappointing right now. But Doc's giving him no leash, bro. Doc's not giving him a chance to do anything. And he's the one guy you've seen that can go and get his own bucket.
That's my thing with Shake. Shake won us a playoff game. And I don't know how net negative Shake can be in a limited role. As opposed to Danny Green. And again, he's going to play because he's a pro. He's won 3 championships. He is bad.
Again, he's 97 years old.
I was calling for him to start after the trade.
He can't move the same. And the issue with some of these dudes, right, that are trying to shoot from beyond right now, and they're all horrible at the moment, is your transition defense is getting so beat up right now because of all these long misses and outlet passes. Because A, you're slow. B, the long misses, and it's a snowball effect when these dudes are on the floor together. You brought up Georges Niang being asked to just do too much. That's the worst part, right? He's being asked to A, play too much, which is a problem, but B, when he plays, you're not asking him to choose 16 minutes. You're asking him to be effective in 16 minutes, and that's a big issue. Georges Niang is right now your most important bench piece. And that was never something that was supposed to be part of the plan before the season started. That's why, I'd have to go back and look at the minutes. I don't understand why he's not giving Shake. I watched Furkan Korkmaz have a 60 game leash this season.
Dude.
And you can't give Shake Milton 3 games to figure it out?
Dude, can we talk about quick, just absolutely sidebar? The Denver game. Down 3. last possession of the game.
Oh, God.
Niang gets the ball in the corner, hits the side of the glass, grabs it with 3 seconds left. Maxey is wide open, and this dude puts up a floater down 3 with 3 seconds left.
We also had a timeout.
What? Dude, that was the epitome of this bench right at the side of the glass.
He played 29 minutes last night.
Minus 21, right?
Well, sure. He was a minus 22 to be exact. But, like, what did you expect? He played 29 effing minutes.
Dude, I don't know.
DeAndre Jordan was a minus 10. He only played 10 minutes. So if you even out the minutes, DeAndre Jordan would have been.
I'm pretty sure all of DeAndre Jordan's minutes too. Niang was on the floor.
That's the problem. Can you tonight? I don't want to watch tonight.
I don't think they're going to start Jordan tonight. I think they're going to start Bassey.
Listen.
Or
I don't want to watch tonight. I'm going to.
They're going to get smoked.
I'm going to.
And we're going to see stupid Tyler Hero's bum ass on the court thinking he's Jack Harlow and scored 40.
It's no. Who's the other dude? Not Caleb Martin.
Cody Martin.
No, the dude that lights us up. Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent's dropping 35 tonight, bro. Yeah. Guarantee it.
Take his overs, bro. Take his overs.
That's the thing. If Harden and Embiid are both missing time, I don't know how you didn't. So you didn't sit both last night.
They're going to start Ferk. They always do. Ferk's going to start. Maxey will start.
But that's the most moronic thing I've ever heard because you completely erased him from the rotation. So let me get this straight. Shake Milton's actually still somewhat in the rotation. You're going to bypass him to start a dude who hasn't played a single second in 5 nights.
They're going to.
It's a clown show, dude. Like you were literally a top 15 coach of all time.
Oh, yeah. That was the worst thing that's ever happened to Doc Rivers was him getting on. How did he weasel his way onto that list? I don't hate Doc, but he's not on that list. I assume – so, yeah, it will be Maxey, Ferk, Thibault, Toby. I think Bassey or Mills. I don't think they'd start Jordan. I think they'll keep him coming off the bench. But, like, Bam Adebayo's playing. I haven't even looked at the Heat depth chart. Bam's playing, right?
I believe so. Let me see.
And Jimmy Butler's playing.
Jimmy's a game time decision. Oh, Gabe Vincent's out.
Oh, thank God.
We might win.
We might win this one.
Victor Oladipo and Gabe Vincent out.
Dude, there's another one. Oh, jeez. Another guy I hate. I hate the Miami Heat. The only one I like is Markieff Morris and Duncan Robinson.
Yeah. So
they're going to beat us by 50, Dylan.
We might have an outside shot here.
No.
The Heat are an 8-point favorite at the moment.
I'll put all my money on that. 8 points.
Yeah. George Ryder threw in a bet for me and him this morning on Sixers money line. Before anyone was
that out or no option.
Yeah, no cash out option.
The Vandal took your money.
What was I just wanted to look at something real quick, and now I can't think of it. Oh yeah. So this was my main point with the loss last night because you know how I love our fan base. And how everyone has to overreact to every down performance. And it's an inexcusable loss. I understand it. I'm not excusing it. But I just love how everyone – again, was the bench bad last night?
Bench bad every night.
Right, yeah. It's a great answer. But, yes, the bench was horrible last night. But Joel Embiid shot 6 of 20. James Harden shot 5 of 12 and missed a couple layups down the stretch. Tobias Harris had 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting. Huh. So in what like everyone was just the bench.
No,
the starters too.
Don't to allude to that. That's like we're sitting here saying, if those 4 guys can't play well on offense, we don't have another route to win.
No, none.
Again, unless we see game 2 shake.
But I have enough faith when the chips. You might get one playoff game a series.
Yeah.
Where you know. Embiid's off and Harden's off, and they might get their ass beat. We've seen that movie before, but for the most part, 6 or 7 games, I think these dudes show up. Like, dude, that's the best part. Shout out to Mark Henry. They're 8-3 with him in the lineup. That's on par for a 60+ win season if they played all together.
It's not enough, dude.
Are you being sarcastic?
So sarcastic. Like, what? God, they still should have won. If they would have called a foul, Boucher, Harden would have drilled both free throws and went to overtime.
Well, I don't know because he missed 2 before that. So now let me get to him, right? And we'll wrap it up here. I don't know how to feel about him. There's no blame on him right now. I'm not worried about him, right? But you can just it's from a game to game thing. Like Dallas, dude. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, highly intoxicated, but he looked really good in Dallas against Dallas. Pretty sure.
Also didn't catch a ton of Dallas, but I think he did look good.
Yeah. You know what? Now I need to go back and check. I remember him quiching a step back.
Because I'm going to sidebar something really quick as well. Tobias Harris has a chance to revert a lot of Philly fans' opinions tonight. If he could somehow light up Miami, we win.
Oh, don't get me happy, dude.
Yeah, could you imagine? Seriously,
him or Maxey? Yeah. Harden went 24, 7 and 12 on 6 of 14 shooting, 3 threes, 9 to 10 from the free throw line.
Not a bad game at all.
No, but he's very up and down. His aggressiveness, has been so shaky where he looks locked in and he knows he can take a game over, and he's extremely passive at times. Do you have any worry? I love hearing him speak after a bad game because there's a calming factor to it. Like last night he said again, it sucked. I got to be better and I will be. And I have I'm not hearing the people. He doesn't look the same. Do you realize he scored 24 plus in, let's see, they played 11 games together. I'd guess he scored 24 plus in 6 of the 11 or 7 of the 11.
In the other 5, he probably had over 10 dimes in every single one.
Right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look the same, Gant. No, he's in a shooting slump, and he's trying to figure it out with this new team. But what I will say is I do need him to flip that switch.
Tonight was scheduled rest, right? Tonight was scheduled rest.
Yeah. It was the hamstring recovery.
Once I saw they released something last week and said they have a plan for what was going on. I assume they won't not play a game together for the rest of the season.
I think that is the plan. Yeah,
it's smart too. They should keep them on the court as much as possible together.
Maximize their minutes together.
Yeah.
Right. No reason to flop them, like play Embiid one night, play Harden one night, which was something you could have done between yesterday and today. But again, I wish they would have rested them last night and played them tonight. But maybe it's smart by the Sixers. Just because, I know we as fans want to see it. We want to see them match up against Miami. But maybe they're saying, no.
No, it's that time of the year, too, where you don't show teams things. And why would you show Miami everything?
Right. And they didn't last match up either. And clearly, another thing I think it's telling you is, which I have no problem with, the Sixers aren't chasing that 1 seed, bro. No. They're not. They are completely.
And they're not doing it for a reason, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yo, I know. No, I know. And that's fine. I'm not.
I would steer far clear from that 2 seed as well.
Yeah. But here's another thing, though. I have no preference really between Cleveland and Chicago. They've handled both mightily this season. But Boston's right on their ass for the 3 seed. I believe they're tied right now for the 3 and 4 seed. Well, like as of right now, they play the Cavs 3-6. If they lost, they play the Bulls 4-5. Do you have a preference?
Of those two? I'd rather play Cleveland.
Okay.
There's just more star power in Chicago where they could steal games, and DeMar DeRozan averages 50 points per game against Philly, it feels like. But I would do everything. Like I don't want to keep using the word avoid, but Brooklyn and Boston are probably the 2 teams right now where I'd be like, I hope not.
And I think they're smart enough to stay.
Yeah, they'll play their cards right. I have no doubt about that at all.
Right. And then I'll enjoy watching Brooklyn lose the first game against Toronto in Toronto, the play-in.
They might not lose another game.
All right, again, anything else? Phillies are going to the World Series. Sixers are going to the NBA Finals. Nova's winning the national championship. I mean, do we have anything? And the Eagles just continue.
Yeah, Eagles shot.
Zach Pascal. Hold on. Let me tip my cap to Howie over here.
Call him Jason Font. I was crying. Yeah.
But it's nice. It's I'll give it a whatever. It's a C. I don't care. It's
like kid, again, maybe
I keep hearing kid can block. Oh, another wide receiver that's good on special teams and can block from the outside.
If it dwindles J-Jaw off the roster,
yeah, that's a plus for me as well. And he's a veteran, so to speak. He's a young veteran. He's better than outside of Devontae Smith. Is he your number 2? I mean, I think Quez probably has more upside, but what the hell has Quez Watkins showed to say he's better than Zach Pascal?
Dude, the Eagles are so depressing.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick. But here's the thing: I actually do believe we're going to be excited a little bit about them coming up because Howie's. Whether we want to admit it or not, I know. Wake up, Howie. Howie's sleeping every time there's a move.
We'll say trade for Baker.
Yeah. He's moving around caps. He moved around a lot of cap space. There's a reason they let go of Fletch and brought him back for less. They restructured Darius Slay to open up $12 million in cap space. So whether it's the Honey Badger or I don't know what they're going to do. I don't see it being another wide receiver. Like I know Jarvis Landry's still out there. I think they do draft one with one of those first round picks. And that's where they get their other wide receiver from this year. But again, I mean, the Honey, that's the one name that I keep thinking of is Tyrann Mathieu. Is there, who even else is there?
No, yeah, the names are very slim.
But he's doing something. Like, what did you move all that cap around for no reason?
I'm all in on Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's instantaneously a top 4 player on this defense.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
With the snap of a finger, he's top 3 or 4 on this defense.
Yeah, edge out Steven Nelson.
Listen. Again, I have my concerns about the quarterback. But if this team, let's say they do bring in a Tyrann Mathieu, they already signed Hassan Reddick. Let's say Howie somehow aces the first round of this draft. Somehow, pray to God. You won't be able to shut me up for a couple minutes. Just a couple, because I'll be brought back down to earth when I see the quarterback throw a 50-yard duck intercepted going the other way. But I think this defense will be very good if they put the right pieces in place. That obviously have a top 5 offensive line. They're going to have a top 5 rushing attack. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. They're going to have pieces. So again, it'll be, will the quarterback be able to take that step and see? You shake your head. I shake my head. Hope to prove me wrong. We'll see. All right. That's going to wrap up this Monday edition of the Phaithful Fanatic Show. As always, we are brought to you guys by our friends over at Manscaped. So head on over to manscaped.com. Use our promo code DSM at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that is code DSM, all caps, at checkout on manscaped.com for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. We stream to you guys live through DSM Media on our Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube account. So head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter to check us out. We also have new merch going up on the TeePublic site as we speak. So go check that out as well. And in about 28 minutes, you can catch us. You can catch me live with my guy Scotty on a special edition of Turf Talk as we continue this Eagles conversation and the 900 offseason moves that have been made around the NFL, because it's been one hell of an offseason for myself, for DSM Media. Have a nice night.